The Malayan Emergency, 1948 to 1960, was a protracted conflict in the British colony of Malaya, fought between the British Commonwealth Forces and the Malayan National Liberation Army, MNLA, the armed wing of the Malayan Communist Party, MCP. Often described as Britain's forgotten war, it bears some striking parallels to the later Vietnam War, though with notable differences in scale, strategy, and outcome. Background: post-war Malaya. After World War II, Malaya faced social unrest, economic hardship, and political instability. The Malayan Communist Party, inspired by regional anti-colonial and communist movements, began to organize armed resistance against British colonial rule. Tensions escalated when the MCP initiated guerrilla attacks against plantations, railways, and colonial officials, prompting the British government to declare a state of emergency in June 1948. The conflict: guerrilla warfare. The MNLA primarily employed hit-and-run tactics, ambushes and sabotage, operating from dense jungles in Malaya. British forces faced difficulties locating and engaging these elusive guerrillas, leading to a counterinsurgency strategy that combined military, political, and economic measures. British strategy: military operations. Deployment of British, Commonwealth, and Malayan troops to secure urban centers and key infrastructure. Jungle patrols, small unit engagements, and aerial reconnaissance were used to track guerrilla movements. Hearts and Minds campaign. The British implemented a population control strategy, relocating rural villagers into new villages, to cut off the guerrillas from local support. Economic aid, education, and propaganda were used to win local support and reduce communist influence. Intelligence networks. The British relied heavily on local intelligence, including informants and collaboration with former insurgents, to dismantle MCP networks. Comparisons to the Vietnam War. Guerrilla warfare. Like the Viet Cong, MNLA fighters operated in jungles, relied on hit-and-run tactics, and aimed to win over or intimidate the rural population. Colonial context. Both conflicts involved foreign powers trying to maintain control over local populations amid rising anti-colonial sentiment. Population control measures. The New Villages strategy is often compared to the Strategic Hamlets program in South Vietnam, designed to isolate guerrillas from civilians. Key differences. Scale. The Malayan Emergency involved around 40,000 to 50,000 communist insurgents, far smaller than the forces in Vietnam. Duration and outcome. The emergency lasted 12 years, ending in a successful counterinsurgency and defeat of the MNLA, whereas the Vietnam War extended over 2 decades and ended in a communist victory. British adaptation. The British implemented a more integrated civil-military approach, emphasizing intelligence, civic action, and psychological operations, which proved largely effective. Outcome. By 1960, the communist insurgency had been largely neutralized. The British successfully stabilized Malaya, paving the way for independence in 1957 and a transition to self-governance without a communist takeover. Lessons learned during the emergency influenced counterinsurgency doctrine worldwide, including strategies later considered in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Legacy. Military lessons. Jungle warfare, intelligence operations, and winning hearts and minds became key aspects of modern counterinsurgency doctrine. Historical memory. Often overshadowed by later conflicts like Vietnam, the Malayan Emergency is sometimes called Britain's Vietnam War, though its successful outcome contrasts sharply with the American experience in Southeast Asia. Political significance. Demonstrated the importance of civilian cooperation, economic development, and integrated strategy in counterinsurgency operations. While the Malayan Emergency shared similarities with the Vietnam War in terms of guerrilla tactics and ideological struggle, it differed significantly in execution, scale, and outcome. Through a combination of military precision, intelligence, and population engagement, Britain managed to contain the insurgency, making it a rarely remembered yet successful counterinsurgency campaign.